Lying just a few miles northwest of Buxton, the Goyt Valley is a wonderfully scenic part of the Peak District National Park. Today, the valley is dominated by two large reservoirs. This is Fernilee, to the north, flooded in 1937. Errwood to the south was completed some 30 years later, in 1968. Today, it's a tranquil place where families enjoy some wonderful walks around the twin reservoirs, but in times gone by, it was a very different picture. Beneath the waters, at this end of the reservoir, lie the remains of Fernilee Gunpowder Mill. Between its foundation in the early 1800s and closure in 1920, it was by far the largest employer in the area, employing at its peak well over 100 men. This is the fire crew in the early 1900s, manning a hand pump, not the safest of jobs in a gunpowder mill. This rare photo shows the extent of the buildings when the mill was in full production. It was taken from the disused track of the Cromford and High Peak Railway, which today forms the footpath along the eastern shore of Fernilee Reservoir. The arrow shows where the photographer was standing, looking out across the River Goyt, which is just out of view at the bottom of the frame. This photo was taken from nearby and shows the main entrance to the mill, from the road which runs down into the valley from Fernilee, known as the Valentine. The river was the main reason why the mill was situated here, providing water power to the millstones used to grind down the powder. That and its remote position, far away from people and houses. It was the site of many fatal explosions over the years, some of which are detailed on the companion website at www.goyt-valley.org.uk. The last major accident occurred in 1909, when 3 workers lost their lives. 2 of them are circled here. George Raven is on the left and Joe Hill on the right. The force of the explosion threw George through the roof of the building and over the far bank of the river. Joe's body was said to be almost unrecognisable. The mill closed soon after the end of World War I, following the development of explosives that were safer to produce and far more powerful, such as nitroglycerine. The mill buildings lay derelict for the next 10 years until Stockport Corporation purchased the entire Errwood estate in 1930, following the death of Mary Grimshaw, the last of the family that once owned the land. The corporation had already identified the valley as a perfect site for building the twin reservoirs to provide drinking water to their fast-growing population. The plans involved the destruction of over 20 farmhouses, including the Grimshaw's magnificent country house, Errwood Hall, the ruins of which lie a short distance from Errwood Reservoir to the south. Farmhouses close to the northern end of Fernilee included Intake, Stubbin, Masters and Shore Style, all of which were demolished. There was also a house known as the Hollows, which lay close to the Goyt and seems to have been used during the construction, perhaps for site managers and supervisors. Construction work started in 1932 and would take some 5 years to complete. This shaky black and white film was taken at the inauguration ceremony and looks like work was already well underway by this time. The film reveals some wonderful detail, including steam-powered cranes and the narrow-gauge locomotives taking materials to the site. It also provides a fascinating insight into the social contrast between those invited to witness the ceremony and the flat-cap working men, and not a woman in sight. The complete video is on the companion website, along with another taken at the same time of the soon-to-be demolished hamlet of Goytsbridge. This aerial photo shows the scene some 2 years later, in 1934. The lane from Errwood Hall and Goitsbridge snakes into view from the bottom left-hand edge of the frame, crossing the Goyt over a small stone bridge before heading up the Valentine to Fernilee. Here are the ruins of the Gunpowder Mill, with the Goyt winding through the valley floor on the right. The line of the Cromford and High Peak Railway, runs from the bottom right corner with shore-style farm top right. This view shows the northern end of the reservoir. The dam wall was constructed close to the nearest crane. The overflow runs down the slope to the right, and the water treatment buildings will be constructed in this area. The workers were known as navvies, often coming over from Ireland and moving around the country from one construction site to another. Their temporary housing is clearly visible alongside the Valentine at top right. Here's a closer view, looking down the Valentine. And here's a group of navvies enjoying a drink in their own well-stocked pub. They weren't that popular with locals. Some described them as heavy-drinking, foul-mouthed and uncouth womanisers. The huge construction project meant the end of a way of life that had existed in the valley since time immemorial. Here, a well-dressed farmer leads a few sheep through the construction site, but he wouldn't be doing so for much longer. Further south along the valley, near the foot of the Bunsell Incline that today leads up to the Buxton to Whaley Long Hill Road, Joe and Prudence Hibbert were the last farmers to leave, packing up their belongings and heading, with their sheep, to pastures new in 1936. The Hibbert family had lived at Bunsell Farm for generations, earning a hard living from the land as best they could. A local journalist, sent to interview the couple just before they left, captured these heartfelt words from Joe. "We can't stay here for much longer, that I know. 2 of my ewes were in the water last Sunday, and I'm feared for the young lambs. Besides, the corporation have said we must go, and there's no arguing with corporations. They aren't human folk. Corporations are like Providence. You can't set your hands or eyes on them." Before she died, Mary Grimshaw stipulated that Stockport Corporation should provide a way for local people to easily cross from one side of the valley to the other. The answer was a small suspension bridge which spanned the southern end of Fernilee from the old railway track near Bunsell Farm, to the right on this old postcard, to the lane between Goyt's Bridge and Fernilee. But it attracted a fair amount of criticism, one writer in 1954 complaining, "Near the head of the reservoir, a steel suspension bridge, connecting, as it seems, no special place to anywhere else, spans the water. Erected in 1935 at a cost of well over £500, this bridge is scarcely used in the week." The bridge was dismantled some 30 years later, during the construction of Errwood Reservoir to the south, probably soon after this photo was taken, judging by the building work going on behind. Opposite Bunsell Farm, close to the other end of the suspension bridge, lay Errwood Farm. It's said that Mary Grimshaw's father, Samuel, stayed here during the construction of Errwood Hall in the 1840s. Today, all that's left are a few bumps and hollows on the ground, close to the path running down to the reservoir from the main car park. The lane below the farm followed the Goyt north, and today provides a fine walk through the trees beside the reservoir. Master's Farm lay a short distance further, before the lane dropped down to the small bridge over the Goyt. It looks a fine building, but today the ruins lie just beneath the waters of the reservoir. From here, it was just a short distance to the Gunpowder Mill, which brings us full circle, back to the starting point of this brief history of Fernilee Reservoir. I hope you enjoyed this video, and that you'll visit the companion website at www.goyt-valley.org.uk for lots more photos and information on the valley, as well as a series of easy walks through the surrounding countryside. My thanks to everyone who let me scan their old photos, and to Joyce Winfield in particular for the information in her book on the Gunpowder Mill. A like would be appreciated. Thanks for watching.